Well, I promised you guys that I'll do a video on how to say no and how to not feel guilty when you're saying it. And I want to promise you that it is not easy saying no. It is very hard because most of the time, and this is for everyone around you expects something from you. You are doing from when we were born, we were pleasing our parents, we were pleasing our friends, we were pleasing those people around us, we were pleasing our siblings. And it is not going to be different when you are growing up. It is just normal that you will end up wanting to please people. Having said that, you don't have to feel guilty when you're saying no, because it is only a narcissist or a psychopath that will not feel guilty when they are saying no. You have empathy, you have feelings, you are allowed to feel guilty when you say no. That just means that you are feeling like you care, you are caring to that person, so you are having that moment of emotion to show you that you are a human being and you care. So it is not easy, especially when you are starting out, like when you are starting to know yourself, when you are starting to know your boundaries. It is not easy to start right away, and you will feel very many things bringing you down and telling you not to say the no. You will always be feeling like, yes, I feel like I want to say no, but I should not say no. But the moment that you are feeling uncomfortable doing what you are being asked, that just means that it is a chance for you to say no or to ask for time to think. And most of the time, pausing and saying, maybe let me think about it, or let me check my calendar for me to confirm with you, or let me check if I have what you are requesting for, is a way for you to start finding a way into having your own space and having your own boundaries set. It is a way of not people pleasing. And people pleasing, as I started by saying, people pleasing is something that is always going to be there. You want to please your spouse, you want to please your kids, you want to please your parents. So don't feel guilty when you are not saying no, because it is also normal. However, what I want to talk to you about is how to balance, because you will not end up saying no in everything. You will not end up saying no to every proposal that everyone is giving you, because some are viable, some are very important things that they are proposing. And you have to look at it in a way that if you are comfortable doing it, if you have the skills to do it, if you have the resources to do it, it is okay if you say yes, because you are doing from your point of ability. You are not being forced to do it. And most of the time, people say, like, when you say no, you are selfish. I have seen so many comments of the critics of the self-awareness programs. People may come up with comments like, saying no is being selfish, you are putting down your family, of which it is very important to say no, and we'll come to that. You are able to say no to that you cannot offer 100%, and do what you can do 100%. It is just that, it is nothing else. And it comes from you yourself knowing that this is what I am capable of and this is what I'm not capable of. So it is from the point of self-awareness. It is from the point of knowing who you are. It is from the point of knowing your boundaries. It is from the point of you yourself thinking out and giving yourself time to analyze yourself, and knowing that you can handle or you cannot handle what is being requested. So in this video, we are going to handle why you should say no, when you should say the no, how you are going to say the no, and when do you really decide that you want to say no. These are important things that will come in handy. And you should realize that saying no is something that you learn. It's like it's not going to be easy, but you learn it as you learn about yourself. The more you learn about yourself, the more you will learn about when and where to say yes to what you want, or when and where to say no to what you don't want. These are the tips to know when you want to say no. Number one, you feel uncomfortable by the request. For example, you know that you are not supposed to be somewhere, but you are being asked to be there. Or you know that you are supposed to be doing something else, but you are being asked to do something else. You yourself, you know your limits. You yourself, you know what you can and what you cannot do. If someone is asking you to do something that you are feeling uncomfortable doing, that is the sign for you to say no, or for you to pause and ask them for time to decide, of which obviously you don't want to hurt them straightforward. You just want to give them time to process, so that later you can text them or maybe tell them that you are not going to go with their proposal. Another time when you want to say no is when you feel obligated. Especially this feeling comes from when, for example, you have a boss, or your parents, your siblings are asking for help and you feel obligated to help. They don't know what you are going through as a person. They don't know how your schedule looks like. It is good for you to know where your boundaries are, where your time should be spent, and where your resources should be spent. It is high time to start letting them know your importance, your time importance, your resources importance, and where you can spend your energy and where you will not. Another tip that will show you when to say no is when your plate is full. Sometimes our plates are so full that we don't know which to chew and which to leave, but we still allow other things to come in, making our to-do list to grow every time and making it difficult for us to handle what we are having right now. The more you have more on your to-do list, the more you will be confused on what to start with and what not to start with, and you will not be able to be focused because your mind is everywhere and you are not focusing on what you are supposed to do. So if your to-do list is full, don't allow any other to come in. Finish what you have first, and then having more time, when you are starting to have more energy to handle it, you can bring it on. And another thing on too much to chew, like too much on your plate, maybe more financial obligations. Most of us have parents, have siblings who need help from us, yes, and it is okay to help. But when you have too much on your list to handle with the little finances you have to make sure that you will not be helping other people while you yourself are starving, or you are helping other people while you yourself don't have transport fare. You have to ensure that you are handling what you can and leave out what you cannot. Another moment that you should say no is when the requests cross your limits. You yourself understand your limits. You know your boundaries. You know your value. And if someone is demeaning your value, if someone is crossing that boundary, be yourself and tell them you will not be able to handle what they want you to handle. It is for you yourself, because you are also taking care of your mental health. If you are not fit mentally, you will not be able to handle what they are asking of you. So if they cross your ability, if they cross your limits in terms of skills, if they cross your limits in terms of finances, if they cross your limits in terms of how well you can think, you will not be able to handle the task at hand, because you don't have the skills required or the ability required to reach the goals you want. And that is where you find yourself giving 50% or 20%, yet there is someone else who they would have asked and they would have offered the 100%, and you would have concentrated on another thing that you would have offered your 100%. Saying no is not a bad thing. It is actually saving both you and the person asking time. It is saving both you and the person asking the mental stress. Think of it like this: if you're doing something that maybe you are not committed 100%, you have other commitments, and you are doing this thing as a part-time, and maybe this person who is asking wants you to commit 100%, you will not reach the same page. You will end up disappointing them, you will end up giving the wrong results, and you may even spoil the friendship. Because if they expected more from you and you offered less from you, that is where trust starts going down. Saying no will help you to keep friendships that are sincere. Saying no will help you to keep professionalism at its best. Another time when you should say no is when you are people pleasing. And a people pleaser, as I said before, everyone, we were born as a human being, you were formed to people please. Like, another name for a human should be people pleasing, because everything you are doing it for someone else. Sometimes there's no one that does their work solely for themselves. I've never seen anyone who wants to develop themselves for just themselves. It's either they want to develop themselves for their daughter, they want to develop themselves for their parent, they want to develop themselves for their employer. It is pleasing one person or pleasing another person. It is always about pleasing people. And I said, unless you are a narcissist or a psychopath, you were born to please people. But there should be a balance. You have to balance. It should not be like, when someone thinks about a people pleaser, they'll have a name. No, you have to have boundaries. Don't say yes when the other person is the only one who will smile, while you will end up depressed. Saying no is a way of you yourself having that power and moving on, and knowing that you can take control of your life and no one else has control over it. It comes in very hard when the person asking you to do things that you don't want is a relative or someone so close to you that you feel like it is very difficult to say no to them. Just realize that it is a way of you liberating yourself from the pangs of regretting one day and saying, I wish I could have said no. Like, we all have that relative who has an addiction to drugs. I have a very close relative of mine who will always come and ask if I have 50 bob or 100 bob to help them buy alcohol, or sometimes they will trick you into buying something else and yet they want to buy alcohol or a cigarette. It is not your fault, yes, and you may want to give them, but if it has happened severally and you know that this person is only going to harm themselves by buying the drugs, it is better if you would not give them the money. And maybe if it is something that they are requesting, go buy that thing. For example, if it is sugar, if it is the groceries they want in the house, it is better for you to go buy the groceries for them and bring them the physical product rather than giving them the money that will harm them. Saying no is not just the word no. Saying no could be done in many other ways. And this is, I have just revealed one way of saying no. I'd rather buy him what he is requesting for physically and bring it to him rather than tell him, no, I'm not giving you the cash. maybe he will feel bad that I didn't give the money, but it is short term because I also gave him what he really wanted. So it has always worked out for me. It is always working out for me when I do that. You don't have to say no and in a harsh way, and you don't have to say no straight away. You can pause, or you can say, I'll think about it. Don't be fast in saying no into the eyes, like you are throwing no to them. Okay, let's see why you should say no. There are very many ways that no is beneficial to you and to the person you are saying it to. Number one, saying no is beneficial to you because you will be able to focus on one task and not be distracted by other things, and you can be able to offer your 100% commitment to what you are doing. Focus breeds quality, and when you are focusing, your mind is also very stable, and a stable mind is able to bring out the best that it can, because you are on track and you get to do what you love, so the results will be better than when you would have dispersed your mind in every other direction. Another reason why saying no is important is that saying no will keep your mental clarity intact. If you have just enough to handle and not more than you can handle, your mind is better off and you will not suffer from mental disability, and you will be able to handle your tasks well rather than when you did not have mental clarity. Saying no also helps to prevent burnout, because the more you have on your to-do list, the more you have to do, the more you get exhausted physically, and you get to reach a point of fatigue. Whether you are a student, whether you are an employee, whether you are a business person, you always want to work too hard for too long, and fatigue comes in, and this is where burnout also is registered. Another way that saying no is important is you get to maintain very meaningful relationships, because the people that will remain in your life as friends are those people that respect you, respect your goals, and are able to help you to reach your goals. So respect is mutual, and everyone is feeling at home with you, and you also feel at home with them. So saying no is your way out of friends that don't care about you. You get to remain with those friends that know and understand your goal, know and understand your personality. Saying no will also help you to achieve your goals, be it a student, be it an employee, be it an employer, be it an entrepreneur. Saying no will keep you on track. It will help you to remain focused, and you will be able to reach your success at the required time. You'll be able to focus maximum energy at what you do, because no success can be found on minimal energy. And with this, you are able to build a vertical wall of success and avoid dispersion curse, where you get to build a lateral slab of whatever you are doing in a distracted way. Saying no will also help you to remain realistic about your capabilities, and your capabilities may include your skills, resources, your time. It may include your energy. Do you really have time for the task they are asking of you, rather than what you want to do right now? Do you have the resources to put into whatever is being asked? Do you have the skill to handle the task they are giving you? Saying no will help you to remain realistic to yourself, to your own self, knowing that yes, I can handle this, and no, I cannot handle this, is a way of your self discovery. It's a way of your self growth, because you'll be able to focus on that is real and leave out the parts that you cannot handle. Realistically speaking, you have to do what you can handle and leave out what you cannot handle. Are you being real with your skills? Are you being real with your resources? Are you being real with your time? Are you being real with your energy? Also, saying no is important because it is part of your self-care. If you need time to rest, if you need time to reset, you have to be real with yourself, because without rest, without resetting, you get to burn out and you get tired even mentally, and that is a way of slowing you down, rather than if you would give yourself time to rest and then fresh get up as a fresh person and continue doing what you want to do, because now you are, when you reset, you rest and when you rest and reset, you get back into your task when you are fresh, your mind is fresh, your body is energized, and you can be able to handle whatever comes in a better way than when you are burnt out and you don't have mental clarity. Generally speaking, no is a way of us unearthing our inner strength, and it protects our best interests. If saying no gives you time to do what you are supposed to do, if saying no gives you time to focus, if saying no gives you a leeway for you to reach your success, it is a way of protecting your best interests. It is a way of you discovering your inner strength. There are several ways of saying no, and remember I said this before, you can say no in many ways that don't feel offensive, because these, most of the time, people who are asking us of things are people who are so close to us. I cannot be stressed about saying no to a stranger. If I'm saying no to my mother, if I'm saying no to my dad, if I'm saying no to my husband, if I'm saying no to my kids, if I'm saying no to my friends, of course it is difficult. That is why you have to find a way in which you can convey your no in a way that will also not hurt them, but also you have to create this part in that conversation where you have to give them time for them to internalize and think through. You don't just rush in and saying no, you have to give them time to think about these things. Give them a reason and give them time for them to internalize. It is hurting them, and the process of which they are hurt and the process in which you are also hurt. Allow yourself to both feel the emotions, and they will later understand you. They love you, but if you cannot explain, there are ways that you can say that will not hurt them. They are not the only guidelines for you to use, but you can try them out. For example, you can say, sadly, I have something else going on. But it is not a must you explain. It is not a must you explain why you are saying no. Or, this is the best I like. I am honored that you asked, but I simply can't. You are acknowledging that they gave you a first thought when it came to that topic. It is a warm way of saying no rather than just saying I simply can't. Another way of saying no is giving a chance for next time. Like, for example, unfortunately right now I have plans, but maybe next time. You are giving them a hope that you didn't entirely refuse what you are saying, but you may have time, or you may have the resources, or you may have the energy for what they're asking next time. The guideline here actually is you don't have to explain. It is not a must to explain, but using these phrases sounds better than being a blunt no. If you have the courage to say a blunt no, it is okay with you or whatever you want to do, but humanly speaking, from a point of conscience, from a point of empathy, you have to use a language that will not hurt your loved ones, because we are trying to create and maintain relationships here. We are not breaking relationships. You have to be assertive and respectful. Yes, I said you have to use a language that will not displease them, but you also need to be straight to the point. Don't beat around the bush. Let them straight away know your stand while doing it in a respectful way. Respect is what is important in this context. If it is difficult for you to decide right away, you could ask for advice from a mentor, a parent, a person who you think is a good advisor. You can ask help from them to let you know what their decision could be in such a situation, so that you make an informed decision that you will not end up maybe regretting, or you will not end up thinking, oh, maybe I could have done this another way or what. Make use of people in your life also in making your decisions. Also, you have to express gratitude. Remember, there are very many people that this person knows. Express gratitude that they chose to talk to you about the situation they are in or about what they want, and show them that you appreciate they thought of you first before they thought of another person, or show them gratitude that you were among the people that they respect, that they had to ask of you. Your communication also needs to be so clear that your response is clear to them. Another tip you need to know is you have to keep on practicing the no thing. Eliud Kipchoge says, vitamin N, you are wired into empathy, you are wired into being kind. You have to practice saying no, and by starting to know yourself, you will be able to know when and where to apply your no, because you don't want to say no every time, even when it will benefit you, or even when it will be a good thing to do. So how do you decide when to say no? You have to have questions that you ask yourself when such a decision should be reached. When someone proposes something, there is the intrinsic energy that comes in and lets you know if you are comfortable or you are not comfortable with the question. If you assume your intrinsic powers, you will end up doing or accepting something that you also don't want. Apart from asking yourself questions about the situation, take time to think through things. Don't say yes or no at a go. Tell them to give you time to think about what they are proposing. Tell them to give you time to check your calendar. Tell them to give you time to check if you have the resources they are requiring. Take your time so that you clear what you have on the table before you take in what you are being asked. On the matter of questions, there are very many authors who have written books on the questions to ask yourself in several situations. For example, John C. Maxwell writes a book on questions every leader should be asking. And you may say that you are not a leader, but you are a leader of yourself first before you lead anyone else. So if you are not leading yourself, if you are not in that position that you are comfortable with in your own skin, you are failing yourself as a leader, because you were born a leader in every aspect of life. There's no one who is not a leader in this world. You are leading yourself before you lead your family, before you lead your church, before you lead your community. You are first a leader of yourself. And John C. Maxwell says the most difficult part of leadership is leading yourself. Like, you can sit in a meeting with people and discuss things, and you are bringing out insights and they are applauding you. But when you fail to honor promises to yourself, like waking up early, like doing what you purpose to do in time and being late, that is being a dishonor to yourself. That is leading yourself astray. In the book, he adds, you cannot help people to reach where you have never reached. If saying no is a way of you leading yourself to the right path, choose to say no. Choose to say that no in a way that you understand you are doing a favor to yourself. So questions are very important. You have to establish which questions you ask yourself and which questions you ask to other people, especially the person who is asking you and the person who is advising you on the question. Some of the questions you need to ask yourself is, do I have the time and the energy to handle this? What value does saying yes to this bring to me or to their person? Will it bring you the joy, or will it bring you stress when you are handling it? Another question that I like when I'm posed with a question that requires yes or no is there any other thing that would bring me happiness that I would rather do than do this? That simply means, like, does saying no to this mean saying yes to something better? This is a very important question that I ask myself in very many instances. Another question is, am I people pleasing when I do this? Another one that we overlook so much is, am I being bullied when I do this? Another question is, do I need to rest and reset in this situation? Because you have to take care of your mind, you have to take care of your body. So do you need time to rest before you embark on what you are being asked? Some requests may need a twist. They are not an entirely no question. So a good question to ask yourself in that time is, what do you need to change about this opportunity to make it a yes? Let them know that if one or two things change in their proposal, it would be doable by you. That's just it. Saying no is a way of taking care of yourself. It is a way of committing 100% to what you can and letting go of what you cannot do. It is a way of being realistic to yourself and maintaining relationships that value you, maintaining relationships that really want to be in your life. If you are not saying no to things that are hurting you right now, if you're not saying no to things that are bringing you down every day and not bringing you development, you are hurting your future. You are hurting your family's future. Start saying no to things that bring you down. Start saying no to unrealistic things and focus on your realistic you. You will find yourself moving and going in places that you did not imagine yourself, because it gave you an opportunity to focus on what you have to and reach your goal. Thank you for watching this. You have been a very good audience. Thank you. And for those who are coming in for the first time, thank you for subscribing. I can see you touching the subscribe button. Thank you, and we see you next time.